Good evening, everybody. Chad here. I'm your host this evening for this electronic town hall, this teleforum. First of its kind, actually, or one of the first of its kinds by an MPP in the province of Ontario or even in Canada. This evening's event, sponsored by and hosted, actually, by Jim Wilson, someone well known to many of you, a longtime member of provincial parliament for Simcoe-Grey, former minister, and really an advocate for the area. Jim, again, is one of the first MPPs to use this as a way to reach out and consult with voters, with neighbors, with friends, with leaders in the community to make sure that you have your chance to be heard, as well as hear what's been going on at Queen's Park. There are a number of opportunities tonight to ask questions. In fact, this call really is a conversation so that you can raise issues, raise questions, share what's been going on in your area. At any time during the call, you can hit *3. And when you hit *3, you'll be immediately bumped off to talk to one of our helpers tonight who will get your question and get you queued up to join the call. And in the course of 1 hour, we're going to try and take as many callers with questions or comments as possible. We have hundreds of people joining us this evening. In fact, we're over hundreds. We're into thousands from around the region within the provincial riding of Simcoe-Grey. It's a pleasure that you all took the time to stay on this call. We know it's a bit of a new and different thing, but we hope you'll enjoy it and think of it as a good opportunity for you to both get a little bit of information about what's been going on with your member of provincial parliament, but also ask questions and for you to let him know what's important. Again, anytime tonight, if you hit *3, *3 will let you ask a question, get you queued up to offer a question or comment on the call this evening. So we'll get it done all within an hour. All you have to do is stay on the line. And there's essentially a big provincial effort going on by Jim and his caucus to make sure that they're hearing from Ontarians. They've launched a new website called HaveYourSayOntario.ca, HaveYourSayOntario, all one word, .ca, where you can fill out a survey about provincial issues. This is an extension of that effort. And before I drone on any longer, I think I should introduce the man of the hour, the MPP for Simcoe-Grey, Jim Wilson.
Thank you, Chad, very much, and thank you to everyone who's joined us on this call this evening. I'm certainly looking forward to taking your questions and doing the best I can to answer them. But before I do that, I just want to say a few words. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm hosting this telephone town hall tonight because I want your thoughts and ideas on the future of our great province. Ontario has tremendous potential, both in its land and its people, but I worry about the path Ontario is on today, and I know many people are worried. As I travel throughout our riding, I talk to hardworking families who tell me that they're struggling just to keep up. And despite all the pay and tax and the government, they tell me that the government really just isn't working for them any longer. I believe that the best advice in the future of our riding and our province and how we can best move forward comes from families and people like you. That's why I want your advice tonight on how we can provide you with real tax relief, focus government on the services that matter most to people, and create good private sector jobs. At Queen's Park, I've been busy advocating local concerns. I'm still vigorously fighting to reopen the medical laboratories in Tottenham, Stayner, and Elmville, and to reduce the lineups at the labs in Alliston, Collingwood, and Wasaga Beach. We've been fighting Dalton McGuinty's high hydro rates that have increased by some 75% and are expected to rise another $732 by 2015. We worked hard, of course, to fight Dalton McGuinty's HST that's stretching family budgets to the limit. I'm opposing industrial solar and wind farms from being placed around Creemore, Indianapolis, Tosserano, Midhurst, and Essa, because I believe, and it's been a long-standing policy of mine in the party, that these projects should be built only in places where they are welcomed and wanted at prices ratepayers can afford. As you know, we've had a long battle to try and get a set of traffic lights on Highway 89 in front of Greenbrier. I've started a petition to support multiple sclerosis patients who are asking for liberation therapy to be provided in the province of Ontario. And finally, I've been working hard to pressure the government to bring in a business risk management program for farmers, because if we want to save the family farm and eat local food, we must support our agricultural community. I hope we can expand on these and any other issues on your mind throughout this town hall tonight, and I look forward to taking your questions. Over to you, Chad.
Well, thanks for anyone who's just joined us on the call. This is our electronic town hall with Jim Wilson, the MPP for Simcoe-Grey. If anyone wants to ask a question this evening, make a comment, share what's been going on in their area, just hit *3 on your handset. You won't be taken off the call. You'll be referred to one of our helpers tonight who will get you ready to come on the call. So *3 if you want to ask a question, make a comment. If you've just joined us this evening on this, our our first electronic town hall, I think, for an MPP in Ontario in his constituency. Jim, you've been a bit of a leader in this. I know there's been some stuff going on at Queen's Park as well. The Auditor General had some not nice things to say about the government. What's been going on the last couple of days?
Yeah, the last couple of days, of course, we have eHealth 2.0, as we call it. It's a sequel to eHealth, where $1 billion was wasted last year, and apparently the local health integration networks and the hospitals and the administration in our healthcare system have not learned a lesson, and they got quite a scolding from the Auditor General this week in his special report. On average, the healthcare system, it's estimated they're spending $2 million an hour on consultants. Absolutely ridiculous. Dalton McGuinness had 7 years to clean up this mess, and he's failed to do so. At the last minute, as people know, yesterday the health minister introduced a bill to cut down on consultant use, but we'll have to see if that legislation has any real teeth. At the moment, I'm a little skeptical. The people in the healthcare system that are running the healthcare system, and as a former Minister of Health, they need to be reminded that every dollar needs to go into frontline patient care, and this nonsense has to stop.
Well, Jim, I know health's an issue you've been fighting for a long time, and you've been fighting in the local area to reopen medical laboratories in Tottenham, Stayner, and Elmvale, and reduce lineups in Alliston, Collingwood, and Wasaga Beach. So we actually have a poll question for everyone who's on the phone tonight. You can answer the question by just punching in a number on your keypad. The question is as simple as this: are you or a member of your family affected by these closures or long lineups in these local healthcare facilities? If you are affected, you or a member of your family, please press 1. If you are not, please press 2. You can key in your answer right now. So for anyone who is affected by these medical laboratory closings and the long lineups, please press 1. If you are not affected, please press 2. You can key that in on your keypad now. And we'll be back with the results of that poll in a minute. Jim, why don't we consider taking a first question?
Be happy to.
Okay. Well, John Ferraro has called in this evening. We're going to get John on the line here in a second. John, I think, is a small business owner, has a particular concern and a question about the WSIB. John, are you on the line?
I am.
John, what's your question for Jim Wilson?
My question, Jim, is the proposed legislation from McGuinty regarding the mandatory insurance premiums for business owners that I guess has just been delayed. I'm curious as to the status of it. I'm afraid that McGuinty's going to try and push this through on his way out before the next election. And if he does, if he is successful in doing so, that if the new Conservative government can reverse that.
Yeah, Tim Hudak, the leader of my party, has made it very clear that we will reverse that. We didn't support the legislation when it was put through a few months ago. It has gone through, sadly, John. But the implementation date isn't until 2012. McGuinty knew that this bill was very unpopular with small and medium-sized businesses, and so he's obviously doesn't want to implement it until after the next election, which is October 2011. We will scrap that so that other people on the call know what it does. People that will never ever be on a construction site, administration, CEOs, presidents. That aren't there on a daily basis are going to have to start paying WSIB premiums to the board, and they may get no more than a paperclip, and most of these paperclip cut, and most of these small businesses that I know, you already have your own insurance for your office workers, so it didn't make any sense, and it's simply a tax grab on behalf of the government.
Exactly, and we can buy it a lot cheaper and be covered for 24/7, 365 days, rather than the workers' comp, which is just on site. So it's totally ridiculous. Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah,
thanks so much for your call, John.
All right.
Just a reminder to anyone else who's joined us, this electronic town hall is meant to be a discussion. If you want to ask a question of your MPP, Jim Wilson, if you'd like to share a comment or what's going on in your area, what you think is important, please hit *3 on your phone right now. Hit *3, and you'll be referred to one of our helpers who will get you on the line to ask a question this evening or share a comment or an update from your area. So hit *3 if you want to join the call this evening with a contribution or a question for Jim Wilson, the MPP for Simcoe-Grey. Jim, we've got our poll results in. We asked callers, were they affected by the 3 lab closures or the long lineups that are resulting in local healthcare facilities, and 56% of our callers indicated they or their families were directly affected by these government healthcare cuts.
Yeah, well, that's Not too surprising, given that my offices are the number one petition being signed in my offices and online at jimwilsonmpp.com is this issue. And there's no rhyme or reason. I'm going to be meeting with the president and CEO of both the companies that are involved in the three locations. Tottenham's a different company than Elmville and Stayner. Trying to get them in here as quickly as possible to see if I can talk some sense into them. If at the end of the day the private companies won't come back, it's still Dalton McGuinty's responsibility to provide equal access to health care for people in rural areas, small town, and cities. So as people will know, I tabled a motion yesterday in the House to warn the government that I'll call a full debate on this issue if they don't soon act.
Excellent. Jim, do you want to take another question?
Be happy to.
Well, just a reminder to anyone who's just joined the call, *3 if you want to ask a question in this electronic town hall tonight with Jim Wilson, MPP. *3 on your phone, and we'll get you on the line to share your comment, what's important in your area, or your question. So we're going to go to Shelley Emond. Shelley's called in tonight, and she has a particular issue she'd like you to raise, I think, in the legislature, maybe, Jim. Shelley, are you on the line? Shelley, are you on the line this evening?
Hello?
I'm just trying to get Shelley. Shelley, are you on the line?
Hello?
Hi, Shelley. What's your question for Jim Wilson this evening?
I'm not Shelley.
Oh, I'm sorry. What's your question
yeah.
for Jim Wilson this evening?
Okay. My question for Mr. Wilson, and thank you for taking it, would be, if it would be possible, to give me an answer as to why we are the only province in Canada that does not honor our service members on November 11th, and by recognizing it as a holiday. And I'm thankful for Family Day. That's wonderful. But I think if somebody had asked me what day I would prefer to have as a national holiday, I would have chosen November 11th to honor those people. Because people like myself, I can't even take time off to go to a cenotaph and honor our brave men and women.
That's a great question. Thank you so much. Jim?
But excellent question, excellent comment. Maybe it is time to look at the issue again. I certainly can bring it up in the legislature, especially now when you think that we're getting a whole new group of veterans coming back from the wars overseas, from Afghanistan in particular. So it may be time to do that. I think we went through a cycle in Canada, and particularly Ontario, where it was thought that the kids, if they were in school that day and it wasn't a holiday, they would learn more about Remembrance Day. And I am grateful in our riding. I get around to 14 Legions in our riding on Remembrance Day, and more and more school kids are coming out to the cenotaph ceremonies, and the teachers are bringing them out. But I'd be happy to, if you want to, at the end of the call, you'll have an opportunity to leave a voicemail if you want to. I guess we do have your number. We don't have your name right, though. So we just need to get that. Thanks.
No problem. We should go on to another caller. We've got someone on the line. I think an issue, Jim, you've dealt with a lot on long-term care beds. But for anyone else who's just joined the call or waiting on the line, if you want to ask a question or join with a comment tonight, if you hit *3 on your handset now, we'll arrange for you to come on the call. We're going to take as many questions as we possibly can with Jim Wilson, the MPP for Simcoe-Grey. So without further ado, we're going to bring on a caller from Stayner. I think this caller is very concerned about long-term care in Ontario, particularly access to nursing home beds. And Jim, I know an issue you've had some experience with. Caller, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
What's your question for Jim Wilson tonight?
Well, Jim, my question is that why is there such a long wait in the hospital for nursing home beds? People are in there for 4 months or more and still are waiting for a nursing home. I don't understand this, and I wondered what can be done about it.
Yeah, well, again, an excellent question and comment was raised again in the legislature today in question period. The government's policy has, as you know, it's a stay-at-home policy, and they're putting the resources into trying to get helping people stay in their homes. That isn't working. We built 20,000 long-term care beds, including new ones in the riding, during the 8 years we were in office. We've been out of office 7 years. McGuinty has not built one new bed. The few that he has opened were ones that we didn't get finished, but that we had announced